I dropped my nephew off at my in-laws' house after my husband abandoned me at a gas station. My husband and I have been married for 5 years and together for 7. From the very beginning, we didn't agree on kids. He didn't want any, and I did, but I eventually came to terms with adoption, which he fully supported. He even said it was the best solution. About 2 years into our marriage, he started acting strange. Suddenly, he'd talk about pregnancy and trying naturally, which completely confused me. Around the same time, his sister abandoned her 3-year-old son. Without even talking to me, my husband decided we would take the child in. I was furious at first. It wasn't a small decision, and I felt completely ignored. But after thinking about it, I accepted it because the child was family, and I didn't want him to suffer. What I didn't expect was that I'd become the sole parent. I worked 10-hour days, cooked, cleaned, handled school, meals, bedtime, everything. My husband mostly just existed in the house and played dad when it was convenient. I eventually sat him down and told him I was exhausted and needed help. I reminded him that taking in the child was his decision and that he needed to step up. He said he would. Nothing changed. Things escalated when it was his turn to take my nephew to school, and he simply didn't. The child stayed home all day while I was working from home and had an important meeting which got completely ruined. We had a massive argument afterward. Things cooled down slightly, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something else was wrong. He'd come home late. He was always on his phone. Sometimes he smelled like a perfume I didn't recognize. Then we went on a trip to the beach just 2 hours away. While he was driving, I finally asked him if he was having an affair. He went pale. Then he looked at me like I had offended him and said, "So what if I am? Every man cheats. It's not surprising." I was shocked. Completely numb. He pulled into a gas station and said he needed to cool off before driving again. He told me to get out of the car. My nephew was crying and hungry, so I took him inside the store to buy some snacks. My husband said he'd be back in 5 minutes. 5 minutes turned into 10, then an hour, then 3 hours. He left with my phone, my purse, my charger, everything. I was stranded at a gas station with a 3-year-old, panicking and crying. A worker noticed and asked what was wrong. He let me use his phone, and I called my mother-in-law. She came within 30 minutes and took us to our house. I broke down in the car because I was terrified and shaken. When we arrived, my nephew clung to her and refused to let go, understandably. He knew her better than me. In that moment, something inside me snapped. I realized that if my husband could cheat so casually and abandon me like that, I couldn't see a future with him. I told my mother-in-law I was going home to pack my things and that I thought it would be best if my nephew stayed with her permanently. I wasn't emotionally or mentally capable of caring for a 3-year-old anymore. My question is, was I wrong for leaving my nephew with my in-laws and walking away from everything after what my husband did?